Today I'm going to talk about indirect speech, statements and questions. And here are some reporting verbs used in indirect questions. To ask, to remember, to inquire, to want to know, to wonder. When we report questions, there's no inversion of the subject and the auxiliary in the reporting clause. The word order is the same as in statements, so we do not use a question mark. If the question elicits a yes or no response, we use the words if or whether. For example, my wife asked, "Have you bought some more butter?" My wife was wondering if or whether I had bought any more butter. Mum asked, "Is it raining outside?" My mother wanted to know if or whether it was raining outside, or my mother wanted to know whether or not it was raining outside. Note that I've changed the word mum to my mother. This presupposes that I am reporting her question to someone who's not a member of my family. Another example.
The student inquired, "Can I borrow this book?" The student inquired if or whether he could borrow the book. Note that I have changed the words "this book" to "the book." This presupposes that we can no longer see the book.
When you have a questioning word beginning with WH, you need to use the question, but do not invert the verb, so the word order of the question changes once again. Some examples. Dad asked me, "Who are you talking to?" My father wanted to know who I was talking to. The police officer asked me, "Where do you live?" The police officer asked me where I lived. A WH clause can be used to report exclamations. She exclaimed, "How strange!" She exclaimed how strange it was. We can use an indirect question after other reporting verbs when we are not reporting a question, but we're talking about the answer to a question. Here's an example. The customer didn't say what time he would call us back. I've told you before why I don't like drinking alcohol. When we want to make a question more polite, we often introduce the sentence with expressions such as, "Could you tell me?" "Do you know?" "Can you remember?" and continue with an indirect question. 3 examples. Can you remember which opera we saw last? Could you tell me how I can obtain a discount? Do you know if this road leads to the coast? I'm now going to talk about certain changes that need to be made when using reported questions or reported statements. First of all, let's look at pronouns and adjectives. These are the changes that are necessary. First and second person pronouns and possessive adjectives normally change to the third person, except when the speaker is reporting his own words. I becomes he. She, me becomes him. Her. My becomes his. Her. Mine becomes his. Hers. We becomes they. Here's an example. He said, "She's my puppy." He said that she was her puppy. I'm pregnant, she said. She said that she was pregnant. Now let's look at the word this and these. This, used in time expressions, usually becomes that. Here's an example. They said, "We're arriving this month." They said that they were arriving that month.
This and that, used as adjectives, usually change to the. Here's an example. He said, I borrowed these books from the library. He said that he had borrowed the books from the library. This and these, used as pronouns, now become it, or they, or them. Here's an example. She returned with a dozen eggs and said, I bought these in the farmer's market. She said she had bought them in the farmer's market. Another example. I said, we will decide on this tomorrow morning. I said that we would decide on it, that's to say the matter, the next morning. Let me talk now about expressions of time and place in direct speech. Adverbs and adverbial phrases of time change as follow. Today becomes that day. Yesterday becomes the day before. The day before yesterday becomes 2 days before. Tomorrow becomes the next day or the following day. The day after tomorrow becomes in 2 days' time. Next week or next year become the following week, the following year. A year ago becomes a year before or the previous year. I'm going to give you some examples. I met him the day before yesterday, he said. He said he had seen him 2 days before. I'll buy them tomorrow, she promised. She promised that she would buy them the next day. She said, my sister got married a year ago. She said that her sister had got married a year before or the previous year. If a speech is made and reported on the same day, these time changes are not necessary. At breakfast this morning, he said, I'll be very busy today. At breakfast this morning, he said that he would be very busy today. The words here can become there, but only when it's clear what place is meant. At the hospital, he said, I'll be here again tomorrow. He said that he'd be there again the next day. Usually here has to be replaced by some phrase. She said, you can sit here, Mum. She told her mother that she could sit beside her. Let's now look at how tenses change in indirect speech. Indirect speech, whether it is a statement or a question, is usually introduced by a verb in the past tense. Any verb in the direct speech or question must be changed into a corresponding past tense. So, simple present changes to simple past. I never smoke cigars, he explained. He explained that he never smoked cigars. Present continuous changes to past continuous. We are learning how to swim, they said. They said that they were learning how to swim. Present perfect changes to past perfect. I've bought a ring, he said. He said that he had bought a ring. Present perfect continuous changes to past perfect continuous. I've been living here for 3 months, she said. She said that she had been living there for 3 months. Simple past changes to past perfect. I borrowed it from my neighbour, he explained. He explained that he had borrowed it from his neighbour. Future changes to conditional. We'll take off in 5 minutes, she announced. She announced that they would take off in 5 minutes. Future continuous changes to conditional continuous. I'll be working from home for a week, she said. She said that she would be working from home for a week. But the conditional remains a conditional. He said, I'd like to buy them. He said that he'd like to buy them.
Change these direct questions into reported questions. Number 1. How is your baby doing? He asked how my baby was doing. Number 2. Where will you study once you've finished school? She asked where I would study once I'd finished school. Number 3. What's the name of that song? He asked me what the name of the song was. Number 4. How often do you wash your car? She asked me how often I washed my car. Number 5. Do you work in the city? He asked me if I worked in the city. Number 6. Will you go to the football match? She asked me if I would go to the football match. Number 7. Have you ever visited the City Art Gallery? He asked me if I had ever visited the City Art Gallery. Number 8. Are you free this evening? She asked me if I was free that evening, or she asked me if I were free that evening. Both of these are correct. Number 9. Can you assist me, please? He asked me if I could assist him. Number 10. How was the flight? She asked me how the flight was, or she asked me how the flight had been. Both of these are correct. Read the original questions and decide which reported question is the most appropriate. Number 1. Husband. What do you think of the latest series? A. The husband wanted to know what his wife thought of the latest series.
B. The husband asked his wife whether she liked the latest series. The correct answer is A. Number 2. Journalist. Is Joe Biden going to be the next president of the USA? A. The journalist asked when Joe Biden is going to be the next president of the USA. B. The journalist wanted to know if Joe Biden was going to be the next president of the USA. The correct answer is B. Number 3. Teacher. Did you have enough time to finish your work? A. The teacher asked them if they'd had enough time to finish their work. B. The teacher asked me if they'd had enough time to finish their work. The correct answer is A. Number 4. The hotel receptionist. Have they seen all the bedrooms yet? A. The hotel receptionist wondered if they had seen all the bedrooms yet. B. The hotel receptionist wondered, have they seen all the bedrooms yet? The correct answer is A. Number 5. Neighbour. Mr. Jones, can I borrow your lawnmower, please? A. The neighbour asked if he could borrow Mr. Jones's lawnmower. B. Mr. Jones wants to know, can his neighbour borrow his lawnmower? The correct answer is A. Number 6. The boss. Why is Peter still working for us? A. The boss wanted to know where Peter was working. B. The boss wanted to know why Peter was still working for them. The correct answer is B. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it and found it useful. Don't forget to pass it on, place a like, and turn on your notifications.